Hello crafty peeps, welcome to my YouTube channel. Do something a little bit different this time. I'm going to show you how to do partial die cutting but using your ScanNCut. Okay, now the reason I wanted to do this was because I kept seeing images on Pinterest and seeing YouTube videos of how to do the partial die cutting. But I haven't got any dies that are big enough, but I have lots of USBs, tattered lace USBs that have got lovely big dies on them. And I thought, well, there's got to be a way I can do it. Now I did play around before with trying to edit them so you can add bits to them and everything like that, and it starts going, you've got overlapping lines, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's got a lot of restrictions on it because of all the little detail bits in there. Then I thought, what if I cut them out and rescan them in? Again, did it, rescanned it in, but then of course you end up with just the outline and the block through it. You lose all your detail. So had to rethink again, stage 3. So now we're going to scan the image, send it to ScanNCut canvas and divide the image. Then you'll get one whole image that you can weld something else to it. This video is going to show you how to do that. I have given a couple of examples if you haven't got a CM Special Edition or 900, which obviously those ones have got the wireless transaction, so you can send it to the cloud and vice versa. If you haven't, all you need to do is save it to a USB and then put your USB into your computer. You're literally using your computer for less than 5 seconds just to convert the image, but it is necessary because you can't do it on your machine. Now obviously I've done this example here with a welded rectangle. That's basically what it is, if you can see that, through the middle of a tattered lace image. Now I don't know how big the actual tattered lace image is on the die, the original die. Obviously this is from the USB, but I doubt you could have spread it out anyway. So I've obviously welded a rectangle into it. Now I have embossed the words onto it, but you could, you know, write them on your ScanNCut and get your ScanNCut to draw it for you. If you were going to do that to give it a bit more depth, what I would suggest is on your top layer of card is to use a Versamark ink and then put clear emboss powder on it, make it shiny. I expect it to give another dimension to it completely. Obviously you can't put that over the top of embossing powder because you'll lose the shininess of the embossing powder. So this was the first example I did. The one I'm going to show you in this video is this one here, and this is using the tattered lace #1 flowers and foliage, and I've used literally the first one on it, which is the Adele flower. I promise you it will work with any of them if you follow this procedure. If you don't, you'll end up with all kinds of error messages that will come up. Some of the ones I saw on Pinterest, the examples of using dies, was you had it off the page and things like that. That's obviously something, if you guys are interested, I can do you another video to show you that. But I thought I'd do the simplest one first, and then you can play around yourself, or I can do another video and show you how to do it. Comment below and let me know what you think. Thank you. Okay, so you want to plug in the USB that you've selected, and then you're going to go to Pattern, Save Data, USB. It's your FCM files. Now I've got 1 to 7 on one USB here, so I'm just going to pick #1, flowers and foliage, and let's just pick the Adele flower. Select it, put it on your mat, and then it's there. Now what I want to do is I want to make it a bit bigger, so I'm going to move it out a bit so I can resize it. Now some of the USBs, the tattered lace ones, they have extra detail on them which aren't always grouped together like this one is. So if you do find that you're moving it around and you're losing pieces, just go to this bit here, then that, and then you can go back and it'll put it back where it was at the beginning, and then you can group it so you can move it. But what I want to do is I want to select and I want to make it a bit bigger. I'll move it up a bit. Right, now we're going to be cutting this out onto black card so that we can rescan it back in again. Now this again is because of all the little pieces that as soon as you start adding other things to it, it doesn't like it. So I've made it a bit bigger. I'm going to go OK, cut, and then like I say, I'm going to cut it onto black card. So I'm going to do that and then I'll come back to you for scanning it back in. So I've cut out my image, now I've put it in my scanning mat and I'm going to scan it in. Now if you don't have a scanning mat, just use one of your normal mats, put a bit of white card underneath it, a little bit of temporary adhesive on the back of your image and then scan it in. Then if you've got any dirty bits on your map or on your mat or anything like that, it won't show up when you scan it in. So we're going to go scan to cut data, and keep it as black and white because that's the two we've got, and then scan it in. Right, so we've got our image scanned in. We're going to get the inner and outer edge, make it smaller, image smaller, it just saves room on USB, and then we can zoom in, so we can press that button and we can zoom in and make sure it's caught everything that's in there, which it has. So quite happy with that. Okay, save. Now there's no need to save it to the machine first because we're going to send it straight to the canvas. So we're going to send it straight to ScanNCut canvas. Obviously if you don't have Wi-Fi on your machine, scan it to the USB that you've got in there at the moment and then plug your USB into your computer. But I have got Wi-Fi, so I'm going to do the ScanNCut canvas. And it gives me a file name. Back in a minute. Okay, so we've sent it to the ScanNCut canvas and my image is now there. So I'm going to click on there so that we can view it. Well, let's make it a little bit bigger so you can see what we're doing. Pull up. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to select everything that's on the page. Yep. And we are going to group and then we are going to divide. Okay, now it doesn't look like it's done very much, but what we want to do is grab the outer layer there and shift it over there. And you'll see what it's done is it's left all these little pieces that when we'd done it on the ScanNCut, it would have completely, we would have been left with an outline because it wouldn't have recognised those pieces. So we're just going to delete that. Move this over here again. Okay, and then we're going to send it straight back to the ScanNCut. Again, if you were doing the USB and you had the USB in there, you can download to PC and then save to your USB. But because I've got the Wi-Fi, I'm going to send it straight back. And it's ready to go. Right, so we sent it back to the ScanNCut. So we're going to go pattern. And then this box is highlighted because it's obviously been sent back. Again, if you're using the USB, put the USB in and you'll go to save data and then retrieve it from the USB. I'm going to do it from the cloud. And I have my lovely image that I can now add stuff to. So what I want to do is add a rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to unlock ratios, which is this button here, because I want the height to be 1 inch. And then I want the width to be just under 6 inches. Now, the reason I do this is because I know that if I make them less than 6 inches square, I can get 4 on one page. Obviously, if you were making a bigger card, you can make it whatever size you like, and then you just use multiple pieces of card. But I like to use every bit of card that I can, so that's why I've done it. Plus the fact most of my card blanks are about 7 inches, so by the time I've added in my borders and matted and layered, it turns out to be about the right size. And the reason I go just under is, again, so that we can fit it on, but it also means that you've got a slight difference when it's standing up. You'll see what I mean when I finish. So we're going to set, I'm going to bring it over the top. It doesn't matter exactly where it is at the moment because we're going to align it. So I've gone to this top button here to go to the edit screen, and then I want to select the 2 items that are on there. So as there are only 2 items, I can select all, and then we're going to align them. So the align buttons, align and centre. Now I like my line to go through the centre. You can obviously put it wherever you like. If you want to do that, just use these arrows to select the rectangle, go back to the alignment screen, and then you can shift it up and down. So again, select all on the map, go to the align screen, align to make sure they're in the middle. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to press weld, and now we've got a nice bit in the centre. Now it will tell you that you can't unweld it. Obviously, as long as it's done exactly what you wanted it to do, which is keep the detail of the background and then the white strip through the middle, that's perfect. So we're just going to press OK. And then the next stage is to make 4 of them. So we can cut them all out. So it's going to be layered on top like it is at the moment. But if you press OK and go to your main screen, you can go here, and then it will make sure that they all fit on one page. Hopefully it will. Yes. Okay. If for some reason it comes up with your error message saying there's not enough room on the map, what you need to do is go back to this screen again, select everything that's on the map, because you need to resize it all together. It's no good thinking, oh, I'll shrink one and everything, because you want them to be exactly the same size. So you need to select all of them, group the whole lot, then you can resize, or down obviously to get on. So I'm going to put it back again, and then OK, and then you can try again. So you need to ungroup it first, press OK, and then do your shuffle on your mat again. Right, so we know that everything's going to fit on the mat. And then we're going to press OK, OK, cut. That's going to take 11 minutes, obviously. I'll be back with you in about 2 seconds. Okay. So I've cut out all my pieces now. The next thing to do is to stamp. Now I'm going to be using Phil Martin Sentimentally Yours More Scribbled Sentiments, which comes in a set like this. And I'm using To a Special Friend. So I've already lined it up with my Misty. Obviously you can use a stamping block, you know the deal. And then I'm just going to use Versamark and some gold embossing powder. I'm just going to make sure it's caught on all of it. Heat it up. Okay, so now we've stamped our sentiment. Then I've glued the first 3 together. to give us this depth, and then we need to glue the last one on top of it. And then once we've done that, we can find a background for it that's going to look pretty and add it onto it. So I won't bore you with the gluing. So I found some nice ink background that I did a little while ago. Cut it to 6x6, or just under actually, and then 2 white bits underneath. So I had a 6 1/4 and a 6 1/2 square, and that should sit quite nicely on my 7x7 card. And then I've stuck all the 4 layers together, you can see that, and then all I've got to do is stick them to the front and then put on a card blank. So I'm just going to do that now, and I will show you the finished bit in a minute. Okay, so this is the finished card. Let's see the depth of the layers. So this is how to do partial die cutting on your ScanNCut. Enjoy.